I guess welcome to episode 4 of Ask Brian. So, I have another question. This is about security, which I absolutely love. Brian, I just got a new Windows computer and want to make sure everything is as secure as possible. What steps can I take to make sure I do not get a virus or any other type of damage to my PC? All right, so I actually get asked this question a lot because, somebody will get a new computer and then they will start to use it and everything works great for 5 or 6 months. And then all of a sudden it just starts to like slow down and just doesn't work right. And there's some issues and you have 17 toolbars installed and all these different things running on your computer and you're not even sure how you got there. Happens to me too. Sometimes I'll boot up an older computer and just look at it and be like, my goodness, this thing is just riddled with problems and issues and everything like that. So, really, there's three main ways that I suggest to make sure that your computer can be safe for as long as possible. Does this mean your computer will last you for 15 years? No, it's not gonna do that. However, this will give you kind of like a model or a platform to use to make sure that you are keeping things quite safe. All right. So the first thing that I always recommend, you need backups. Always have backups of things. Now, Windows has some great features in it. One of the best ones is that you can kind of create a restore point, but you can put it on an external hard drive. So that's awesome because an external hard drive means that you take all your files, you move them away from the computer, something happens to the computer, it blows up overnight, things go wrong, you get a crazy ransomware virus, all these different things happen, who cares? You have all of your backups stored on the side. So that's one of the first things that I recommend. Back up all your stuff because nothing can do damage to you if you have your items constantly backed up. Backing up every day? No, not really. You shouldn't be doing that, but once a month, once every other month, you should make kind of like a checkpoint and back up your stuff. You can back up the entire instance of your Windows operating system so that if something goes wrong, you can actually like rewind time and restore it back to an older point. But also you can just keep your files stored and you can usually re-download or reinstall everything else. And actually, with the idea of backups, every 6 months I do a clean factory reset on all of my devices because it makes my device like brand new, removes any types of errors or issues. It lets me go back to the first day that I bought the device and then install all the updates right there. And then I can reinstall and add all of my other items into it. It just gives me a cleaner experience with Windows. The second thing, it's debatable at this point whether or not an antivirus actually helps. There are some free solutions. I currently just toss Avast on most of my friends and family's computers that I work on just because it's free, and I always tell them just keep insisting on the free version. They'll try to upsell you different things, and maybe if you want them, you want to buy them, but if you don't, you just want the free version of antivirus, it's not a bad thing to have. Yeah, and there's also the idea that all Windows computers have something called Windows Defender, and that kind of keeps things in check as well. Windows Defender is a great system, and it's kind of like its own antivirus built by Microsoft. So something to keep in mind with that, at least. And finally, the last thing that almost nobody does, which I find really just silly, is to set up 2 accounts, at least 2, on your computer. Your first account you're going to set up as your administrator. But the thing is, if you sign in and do everything as an administrator, visit websites, download things, do a bunch of different stuff on a computer, if a virus or some way of compromising your device gets in, it has administration level privilege. If you give a virus or malware or anything like that admin level privilege, it's going to do admin level damage. It's kind of like how the boss of a company can do more damage than an employee can, usually. So what I recommend is make your admin account, make it once, sign out of it, and never sign in again. You have the password, so what you do is you create beneath that a user account, and that's your normal account to do things. Now, arguably, I would say you should probably make a user account for fun and a user account for professional/work things. I like to have 2 different accounts because, sometimes I look at goofy things. I have a bunch of games. If I'm trying to give a presentation on my professional account, I don't want things like a video game trying to auto-update or start up or anything else like that. So it's kind of like another thing that I like to keep in check on there is, Make sure that you have your admin, but then users, several users if you need, or just one user for all of your stuff. That's fine. Now, you always sign in as the user. Now, you might be asking, well, how do I install programs? How do I make major changes? Well, if you try to do that as a regular user, it's going to prompt you for a password, which is the admin password. So now, before anything on admin level gets done, you have to put in the password as the user. And that's really nice because let's say a virus comes in and tries to install itself or replicate itself or just try to modify things in your computer. What's it going to do? It's going to prompt you for the password. And if you didn't do anything that prompts for a password, you can cancel it and you've stopped that virus right in its tracks. So these are the types of things that I think are really valuable. These 3 things, again, backups, you can back up your entire system, or you can just back up your key core files, like, your music, photos, videos, documents, all those different types of things. The second thing, antivirus. Windows Defender, always keep that updated. Windows Firewall is built in. All these things. Make sure that you tend to them and make sure they're updated. And if you want an additional degree of security, install an antivirus. And finally, the last thing is that user admin privilege check. That is one of the big things that really plays a role in keeping your device and everything safe. So I hope this helped. If you do these 3 things, you are better off than 99.9% of people in the world in terms of digital well-being. So, just make sure you're doing that, and you're going to be doing just fine. You shouldn't be facing any types of major issues. And if you do, you have your backups. So, yeah. All right, hopefully this helped. I'll drop a couple links and some information in the description in case you have any questions about these things, and don't be afraid to ask me in the comments for some next questions. Maybe I'll take your comment and make a full video about it. Thanks for watching.